Stay, motherfucker.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Feeling it.
What's up, man?
Chilling, man. Chilling. Just you know, getting some time in the studio today. Got the clearance from the fam to just have a studio day, you know. So
That's awesome. How's the fam? Good?
doing good, man. Yeah, my daughter's almost 3. She'll be 3 in July.
That's awesome.
How old's your boy?
Well, my boy will be 3 in a couple months, and my daughter is she's going on 9.
Okay, all right. So your youngest and my only are similar age.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yes, that's super awesome, man.
I
And
love it, man.
what a setup you got there! Woo! The lighting and everything, man.
Yeah, it's a little hot coming in here. You know, it brings out my ginger features, but
That's where all the magic happens.
yeah. Some of it. I've been. You know, I do a lot of videos online and everything like that. So this is like my setup for that. When I do it at home, of course, I do like some live stuff too. But yeah, it's dope, man. Like I've always been interested in making videos and sharing videos and everything. It's an amazing way to connect with people all over the world. I know for sure you've been you know, a benefactor of that kind of stuff too, with battle videos and this kind of thing, right? Like that's that definitely put my name on the map for sure, you know?
Fuck yeah, man. This is a super random one, but how fucking dope is it, dude? Like, to live, not only live off what you love to do, but like super famous for it. And I know that's probably not even the biggest thing for you, but it's like, that's the most beautiful, because we both easily could have been, you know, the guys that tennis, you know, when the ball falls down, they run in the middle and grab the ball. or no, and there's nothing wrong with that. They probably
it's a long life, and you know, that may be in the cards for later. Who knows? But yeah, man, it's a dope feeling, man. And you know, coming from Scotia and everything, like I feel like I probably had similar journeys in some capacity. Although, like, I don't know, most people probably don't know. We don't know each other very well. Like we probably only hung out a handful of times, right? Because me coming up in Scotia, I was born in 82. What year you were born?
86.
86. So we're like, you know, we're that like that high school grade apart where it's almost like, you know what I mean? That 4 years makes a difference, right? So and then I moved away from Halifax in 2004 or 5. So I think kind of like the Pat Stay come up was like I more found out about you from videos.
Yeah.
And seeing battles, but like but yeah, you know, like yeah, it's an amazing thing to be able to live off what we do, and I've been doing it since I only had one job ever, and I was working at Canadian Tire at Sunnyside Mall in Bedford for 3 months. They paid me $5.05 trainee pay. You know what I mean?
Woo!
And then I also worked at Revolution Records. I don't know if you remember that one. It was on Prince Street, right by the corner of Prince and Barrington. So that would have been across the street from Reflections.
Okay. No, I don't, man. I didn't even go to Halifax until I was a little bit older. You know, Dartmouth people are so like, they don't know anything about Halifax, and I feel like it's the other way around. Which I understand the other way around. Why would Halifax people go to Dartmouth? There's nothing there for them, right?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Bedford before I lived in Halifax, so I used to pass by Dartmouth to get into Halifax. I used to go swimming at the Dartmouth Sportsplex,
Woo!
You know, as a kid, and yeah, I always say, like, you know, Bedford is how you would get to Halifax if there weren't any bridges.
Yeah.
You know? That's how I describe where Bedford is. Because you put Dartmouth on the map pretty good, man.
Oh, fuck yeah. I'm Dartmouth all day, man. You know what I mean? I was wondering, why did you move other than being a traitor, asshole?
Yeah. Honestly, as a DJ, like, I need people. Like, I need numbers of people, like crowds and stuff like that. And I played a lot in Halifax in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and I was playing like 3 times a week. But as I traveled around, I started noticing there's like all these crazy crowds everywhere that with all different types of interests and different just different crowds, you know, different types of people, different interests, you know. Music back then, like late 90s, like more regional. And I mean, it was regional wherever you went. So if we were into something like, you know, I heard you were you playing Dove Shack there when I tuned in? What was that?
Pretty much, man. I was playing the Twins, Warren G, man.
Twins, right? Yeah. So like
Dove Shack.
For me, like Halifax had this unique perspective on music because we didn't, it was almost like an interior. So you had your friends that like East Coast music and your friends that like West Coast music, you know what I mean? But like we kind of liked a bit of everything. Like I grew up liking Wu-Tang Clan and E40 and Warren G and Snoop and Dre and you know, and then UGK and stuff like that too. So like when I traveled, I noticed the regional stuff was even stronger. Like people were dancing to Black Moon in clubs or and you're like, oh, they only dance into like kind of commercial stuff in Halifax. And then like coming to Toronto and here and Montreal and hearing how much they played like reggae and dance hall and stuff. And then traveling to the States, like when I went to Skribble Jam, it blew my mind how many people were into just like hardcore rap, which like the scene in Halifax was just so small. So, but really, it was a girl once like kind of got in my head about not moving for a girl, but a girl that like challenged me on how good I had it in Halifax and that I wasn't shit.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a funny situation actually. So like this girl that I dated for a little bit and we were like we dated, and then like there was this thing where I'd met this girl in Europe on tour, and then she came and visited me in Halifax, and we were dating at the time, and this other girl, and she's like, I'm like, so this girl's coming over from France, and like she's coming to stay with me, and she was like, yeah, this is done. Like, we can't do this no more, you know? And I was like, really? You know, okay, really? This is before. And she's like, yeah, this is not how I roll. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I guess so. And she was super cool. So we stayed in touch. You know, of course, when the girl went back to France, I tried to be young and slick and tried to light it up again. And she was like, nah, like, it ain't like that. And like that, I think that kind of was like her like little like cue to just get in my head. Cause she was like at King's College doing psych and stuff like that. And so she's like, yeah, like you got it pretty good, don't you? Like having your cake and eating it too, and playing these nights and this, that, and the other. And I was like, yeah, I guess so, right? And then she's like, yeah, but like this will end sometime. Like this won't last forever. Like you'll get older, the kids will move on, and like, and then what are you gonna do in 5-10 years? And I was like, damn. Now that you put it like that.
Shouts to her, man. Shouts to her.
And it made me think, and I was like, yeah. And then it's like, well, what do I really have to lose? Like, I could go, and if shit hits the fan, and you know, I can always like try to come back, and hopefully they won't hate me for being a traitor or something like that. Yeah, I moved to Montreal in 2004 and tried it out there, and then moved down to Toronto 5 years after that, 2009.
Man, obviously the best decisions you ever made, and that's what it's kind of like, I don't want to say it like a down home mentality, but a lot of people here are boxed in, and like they think they know it all, and they think it's like, I find a lot of people down here are always in competition with each other, and I always say, dude, who gives a shit? You're trying to be the best rapper in Dartmouth for the last 10 years? Bro, I say this to people all the time. I'm like, bro, I promise you, I travel everywhere. People don't even know what Dartmouth is.
That's it. It's almost crabs in a barrel sometimes. Crabs in a bucket, excuse me, not crabs in a barrel. I get my Ricky-isms on every now and then. You know, fish in a barrel, crabs in a bucket, crabs in a barrel. That's a Scotian in me. What can I say? But yeah, like it's. When you move away or you travel a bit, you get that perspective. Like you say, people don't know what you're arguing over. And then you also see that in other cities, and then think of how silly it is for other cities to be beefing over that stuff. And then you're like, you'll be like down in the States, and they're like, oh man, DMV, it's like DC don't really mess with Baltimore, don't really mess with Virginia. And you're like I can't even tell you where these things are or what they are. I just like you for who you are. So I think and this can be a thing with small towns, is it's like, it's the only thing going, so like it means so much, but then the more dense it gets, the more people, those little things get more spread out, and they mean less and less. But yeah, I don't, and they got nothing. Like I think like people are gonna have that competition and tension anyway. But like when it's bigger, you have more space, or you can get away from it. When it's smaller, you're seeing them all the time, and the circle is smaller, and you know someone that knows someone, you know all the dirt, and then like, and it gets a little harder to get away from.
And it's small down here too, because just imagine you stayed in Bedford, bro. Like, I'm not saying you would, not saying you wouldn't have succeeded one way or another, but it's like everyone knows each other, and when that happens, dude, you don't get inspired, because the people around you, they know you so well that a lot of them, they don't want to treat you any better. They don't want to be, it's not that they don't want to see you succeed. They just don't like to see you like surpass them, because they grew up with you on the fucking playground and all this type of stuff. And like, so they just treat you like, I don't want to say a normal person, because you're a normal person, but it's I don't know, like I walk around Dartmouth sometimes, and you know, the people that don't know me, they're like, oh shit, PatStay, man, you're so great. But the people that know me, like, yeah, I remember when you used to work at Needs. I'm like, cool, man. I don't anymore. I know you still don't want. It's really weird. So it's good to.
Yeah, and people from high school will like. It's not a lot of the times. It's actually a reflection of them. Like they are holding on to something from a certain time, or their own accomplishments, or their own life path. You know what I mean? And so sometimes the only thing they've got with you is that the only time that you guys were ever really on the same plane was when you were working at Needs and they were going into Needs. You know, and then to watch you go from that to then being recognized worldwide, for them to go from being a customer there and still being a customer at Needs, sometimes they feel some type of way about that, you know, like, and honestly, like they don't even know the half about like what it takes to actually like sustain these things. And I think if they did, they might be a little less quick to even talk random shit, because it actually takes giant leaps of faith all the time, and like every year, and always checking in with yourself. There's no pension, there's no guaranteed future. You got to work for it all. So like a lot of the times I think it's their own sort of like their own wishes that they could do something like that makes them say those things, because they didn't, or just because they came to some crossroads in their life and decided, I don't have a thing that I want to go that way, so I'm going to go do this thing. And then they need some kind of justification or some kind of make them feel good about something like that.
Yeah, no, you're totally right, man. When you were starting to DJ, were there people that were like, oh man, this is not, actually, you know what? Fuck, excuse my language. We'll get before that. Who did you watch? Who did you watch when you were young to be like, man, this shit, this is what I want to do. That looks cool.
Oh man. Well, like I got into rap like around that that era of the Twins, or like the G-Funk era. Like I got into Snoop Doggy Style, and then like Dre Chronic, and then like Warren G Regulate and everything like that, and then Wu-Tang Clan. Like that 94 year was like so big for me in rap. And I was watching a lot of Much Music and whatever was on TV. And so I'd see little clips of DJs doing stuff. I specifically remember one of TX Skratch from EPMD, like when we first got BET, that would have probably been in like 97 or something like that. He was like cutting up Friday the 13th, I'm gonna play Jason, and he puts on like the Jason mask and juggles and stuff like that. That was crazy to me. You know, but honestly, it was like hearing scratching more than seeing it at first. Like you'd hear scratching on Gangstar Records, and just like you just like hear DJ Premier cuts, and you'd be like, damn, like this sounds so good. You see it in the videos, and that would be something, but just like honestly, the sonics of it, like you'd hear like the scratching, and you'd be like, I want to be able to do that.
That's dope.
That was probably it. Like I'd say Gangstar, Pete Rock on like The World Is Yours by Nas. Like I can hear those scratches in my head, and they're like perfect. You know what I mean? So so just even wanted to try to figure that out. I guess that made me want to get into it. And but then really, just being a fan of hip hop was like #1. And I made beats on a keyboard in my basement. I wrote raps. I did like key styles stuff in like early internet days, you know. But just like insatiable appetite for rap.
That's super dope. And then next thing you know, you're fucking hosting barbecues with DJ.
Yeah.
That's amazing, dude. I know you've ran that through your head a million times, and you've been told a million times, but I just want to congratulate you, man. Oh, man. It doesn't get bigger than that. That's so amazing. This is your friend. You know what I mean? You probably, you know, you call him by his first name. You share your cheers and hot dogs with him.
Yeah, I mean, Preem's first name is just Preem. but yeah, but you know what? It's funny, like, and you could probably relate. I mean, this is an art form, so like, if you're putting in, you get out what you put into it. So if you are putting out dope shit, you're gonna get recognized. And I do tell this story about Primo, I met Primo the first time in Montreal. We did a show together, and I was just bugging out. Like, and Primo has stories for days, and he's been in one of the most pivotal positions of all of rap ever. Like, think of his production discography and where he was being in New York in the early 90s, you know, producing Gangstar, Biggie, and then, you know, all the way on up to whatever, Christina Aguilera and everything. But like, second time I met Primo, I shook my hand. I'm like, hey, yo, I'm Paul Skratch Bastid. We met in Montreal. He's like, I know who you are. He's like, I keep track of all you fuckos, you know. And I'm like, oh, word. But see, all those guys are like people that are true to the art form are paying attention, you know. And I'm sure it's the same way with you. Even if people aren't battle rappers, like rappers that are rappers are paying attention to the bars and the battles, because even if they don't battle like that, like, it's a performance, and it's part of, if you have it in your heart, you're gonna follow it. You know, I still pay attention to DJ battles, even though I haven't battled since 2007. You know, so.
Yo, and rappers especially pay attention to battle rap. Like, battle rappers, yeah, but when I talk to rappers on here, famous rappers, and I'm like, man, it's such an honor. They're like, dude, I've been watching you for years. I'm like, it blows my fucking mind, right?
Yeah. Like Shaq or something, right? You know, like a guy like Shaq.
Yeah. And I talk to Shaq. Shaq's just such a casual guy, and he'll just like send me memes, and it's just like, what the hell is going on? This is so amazing to me.
Shaq is hilarious. I don't know if people know, he is hilarious. Yeah. Shaq FaceTimed me once. Like, I commented on something, and then like he sent me a DM, and I'm like, yo, well, here's my number. Like, if you ever in the city, reach out. I was at a bar. I just, you know, had a drink, and then like turn my phone off. Pick up my phone, and it just says, you know, I saved his number. Like, missed FaceTime from Shaq. This is the first time he's ever like sent me a message or anything. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm showing my homie, like, I missed a FaceTime from Shaq, and I'm like, no, you know. And so like, I try and call him back, nothing, and then I get in the cab like later to go home, and sure enough, like, the FaceTime rings, and it's just Shaq. It's like shirtless Shaq, like on the floor in the hotel room, like, yo, what's up, man? You know. I'm like, what? Like, hey, Shaq. And he's like, I'm trying to get better at scratching, trying to get better on my other hand. And I'm like, yo, it's just like dribbling a basketball, man. You got to do it 3 times as much with your bad hand as your good hand, you know? And he's like, word. All right. Well, if you're ever in Atlanta, give me a shout, or LA, you know? And I'm like, all right, cool. He's just a cool cat. But that's it. He's been a fan of hip hop, like, since forever. Actually, there's a funny story I got from Jazzy Jeff. So Jazzy Jeff, first of all, Jeff is like, you know, one of my best friends, but also just like historically one of the most important people in modern culture, in my opinion, from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air stuff to the Jazzy Jeff and Fresh Prince to his skills as a DJ. Yeah. But in the States, like, he is, like, everyone knows Jazzy Jeff, you know what I mean? Like, everyone knows Will Smith for sure, but like, the look of Jeff is just like, people like just kind of know. Like, I've been out with Jeff sometimes, and people are like, oh, Jazzy Jeff, you know, like just like at the Waffle House or something like that, or like, you know, just like hanging out. But Jeff does all kinds of parties down in the States, and he was telling me a party about doing Magic Johnson's 50th birthday or something like that. So he's standing in a circle with Charlie Mack, who is Will and Jeff's bodyguard. Charlie still does a bunch of stuff online. And, so he's standing in a circle with Charlie Mack and Will, and then chatting, and Shaq walks up to Charlie Mack. And he's like, I forget where Shaq grew up. Did he grow up in Louisiana? I forget where Shaq grew up. Anyways, like, Shaq's...
Newark, New Jersey.
Oh, Newark. Yeah. Okay, so Shaq's like... Yeah. Shaq goes to Charlie Mack. He's like, Newark, New Jersey. He's like, 87. He's like, Rock the House album. He's like, I waited outside in line for an autograph for 2 hours. You came out for the autograph session. You said, hey, you bully, back of the line. He said, you thought that I was bullying kids because of my size. He's like, I waited there for 2 hours. I was the #1 fan. He said, I'll never forget that, Charlie Mack. You know, like, but Shaq, like, been a fan. Like he's a rap fan. He's made rap albums, and he's now a DJ and stuff like that.
Shaq Fu, man, he loves hip hop, dude. He's still a DJ.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like he is like, again, this comes down to that. I believe this art form is like it's in you to do your way, you know, and it's not, I can't guarantee that everyone's going to like the way you do it, but the people that are truly passionate about this, it doesn't leave you. It's not a fad. It's not a thing. So I think like sometimes people can't process that because it's not in them. So like, you know, even, you know, growing up as a white dude in Bedford, people are like, you like rap or you like hip hop? It's like, when you go to a show, are you the only white person there? It's like, no, like people have these like mental blocks in their head about, and perhaps they're reinforced by what they see in advertising and TV and stuff. But like, honestly, like when it comes to art, it's like a participant sport. So you just gotta do you, and it may not always be accepted, but it's you, and hopefully it will, you know, hopefully it will be accepted, and you can make a living off it potentially.
Yeah, Shaq said when I talked to him, he had a crowd of 200,000 people one time.
Yeah, I mean, why not? I mean,
he loves DJing. He loves doing it. Like he was telling me, like he loves it. That's so. Of course he knows who you are. That's so dope that you guys are connecting on like a DJ thing. That's with Shaq. That's amazing.
I know, because you know what? Because like 10-year-old me is going into Micmac Mall and looking at the big shoe, you know, like, and I'm like, now he's FaceTiming me out the blue.
FaceTiming me, asking for advice. That's amazing, man. That's a wicked thing. Shout out to Shaq, man.
Yeah, man. Big shouts out to Shaq.
Yo, your first battle in 2003, Skribble Jam. Can you tell me about that? I mean, just because I'm a battle rapper and I'm not asking from like a media thing.
It was 01. It was 01 actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But it's all good. No problem. I won in 03.
That's what I meant. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay, so there's the Star Wars video that has been going around, and it goes around. This is its 19th year in existence. But yeah, Skribble. So I'll give you the thing about Skribble, and I know you know Skribble as a pretty important part of battle rap history. Like Skribble Jam was in Cincinnati, Ohio, and it was here. People saying I'm quiet. Am I quiet to you, Pat? Are we good?
Not to me.
Okay. Telling people to turn the phone.
Hold on. Is everyone saying that?
No, I don't think so. Just one person said volume up if you can, Skratch, please. But I can't. Shout
out Shaq.
I'll just yell a little louder.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So Skribble Jam is like, it's in Cincinnati, Ohio, and it is it was a hip hop jam. Like it was a graffiti. First of all, Skribble magazine was a graffiti magazine. So they had a hip hop jam every summer called Skribble Jam. I think it started in like '96 or something like that. So graffiti, they would rent a place, this Annie's, I think it was called, and they would every year paint the whole entire exterior of the building and adjacent walls and everything. It was a crazy graph gathering. And then beyond that, it was like a 4 elements hip hop thing. So they'd have graph, and then they would have a b-boy battle, with different crews from all around. And so being in Cincinnati was a Midwest hub. So, and this is another thing sometimes in Canada, everything's so far away. But when you get down to the States, all the roads intersect and lead to each other. So in Cincinnati, I mean, I don't know geographically the exact distances, but like you've got whatever, Columbus, Ohio, but then you like not far away, Chicago, Indianapolis is of course right next door. You have like Minneapolis, you have like Detroit, you have all these surrounding areas. And then it's even not that far, being Ohio, from the East Coast, like Boston, New York, everything like that. So like it became like a crazy Midwest congregation years over years. And I didn't have too much of an idea of what it was, but they were kind of on their underground rap shit for sure, because in Midwest they're kind of not the East and they're not the West, so they're sort of like, we're the kind of outcasts. So Rhymesayers from Minneapolis was big out there. I mean, Eminem used to battle there in the late 90s, early 2000s. Of course, like Juice was a champ out there. Damn, you getting that? Why am I all I don't know why I'm like that. Am I looking weird to you right now?
Yeah, it went purple. Click the screen twice. It might be I
don't know. Okay, cool. So yeah, it was a crazy place for just like hip hop, and they had a breakdance battle, a MC battle, which always had, and a DJ battle. And I heard about it through Buck 65 and 62, who had gone down there, and they actually went down there and connected with this group called the 1200 Hobos, which was like, that was a Cincinnati-based thing. This guy, Mr. Dibbs, he had this collection and collective, and it was like this cool underground collective. And I was like, yo, this sounds like the most amazing place. Of course, this is like year 2000, and there's no internet to check video of it. And there's like, I'm like, okay, it sounds cool. Like, sign me up for next year, you know, like I want to go down and check it out. And so I did, and yeah, I was blown away, man. Again, coming from Halifax, this small town of 300,000 people, next closest bigger city is Montreal, 12, 13 hours up the road, you know what I mean? So to go to this place and see thousands of people, like we're talking 3,000 or 4,000 people, all into like underground rap or rap, mostly dudes, mind you, but there were some cool chicks, of course, too. But then also seeing everybody's grind too, because it wasn't just like, it was also where you'd bring your 12-inch, your CD, your mixtape. People would perform, people would battle. They were like out for fame. Like, they wanted to be on stage and show their shit in front of all these surrounding cities. So just that competitive energy, man, it was transcendental for me, man. Like I was like, there's so much out here. And that happened. My first time was in 2001. So I went down there and I brought my bag of records. Like, I brought my battle and I entered the battle. And the one thing that I did have definitely that I knew, because Buck 65 had been there the year before and they were into underground rap, Buck had that record out called The Centaur, which was like pretty popular in underground rap at the time. And I was like, okay, if it's going to work anywhere, it's probably going to work at Skribble Jam. And so in the semifinal round, I ended up going up against this guy, Kiko, who I knew I was going to lose to because he was like just skill-wise, like just above me, you know, like, you know, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to project that on you, but that was how I felt at the moment, because I'd only been DJing for 3 years. And
Absolutely.
I watched his videos and I was like, I can't beat this guy. So, but I got to get this routine off. Like, that was my finishing move. It was in the semifinals, but I was like, no matter what, I got to do this. I got to get this off. And I did, and I ended up winning the semifinal. So I ended up losing the final to Sprite, who from Chicago at the time, who like, he was better than me too. Like, again, these guys, I watched their videos, so I knew they were better. But getting that Star Wars routine off, which is something that I had used against Buck in a local Halifax battle previously, and then it got captured on video, and they put that routine on the video. And shout out to Mike 2600 in the comments. He was there.
Wow.
Yeah. And they ended up putting the even though it was the semifinals, they put it on. They don't usually put the finals on the video, but they put the semifinal on, and then that got on VHS, and then that got eventually got on DVD, and it went around the world. So it was pretty crazy to see like the power of that. You know what I mean?
That's great. Yeah, that's super dope, man. That's 19 years ago, man.
Yeah, insane. So, I mean, that's another case of just like getting out and seeing what else the world has to offer, you know? Like, that's just such a key point for artists, I think, because you can get in your little bubble and until you take that flight. I mean, I don't know a whole lot of people who regret doing stuff like that, you know? It's just that a lot of people don't take the first step.
Oh, I totally regret rocking this crowd of thousands of people in this place who all love the same shit as me. Oh, that feeling was horrible. I damn near puked when everyone cheered for me.
But that's it. And no matter what, you're going to come back with a better experience anyway, because even if you get annihilated, you're going to go back and you're going to train to get there. You know what I mean? Like,
a strong-minded person. Some people will be like, I quit.
Right.
But that's super dope, man. 2003, you came back and won the shit.
Yeah, exactly. 2002, I had something else going on that same weekend and couldn't make it down. 2003, I went down and won it. And then I won it in 2004. In 2005, I lost in the semis, and then I won again in 2007. So I won it 3 times, and having that, yeah, actually, I still got trophies, bro.
Oh, that's so dope, man.
And see, it was a graffiti contest, so they had these souped up masks, and that said Skribble Jam DJ Champion.
That's amazing.
Another one, and my third one is back there beside my massive bottle of hot sauce, and that's not a euphemism. It's back there, up there. Anyway.
Would you say one of those battles was your like breaking point? I know Avocado on Twitter said a certain was that one of those that he was talking about? I only seen this tweet.
I think that was so. It's a Star Wars routine, and I turned Buck 65 songs into Star Wars routine. So that was like that was a breaking point, but really it was like until it hit the internet, it was kind of only in the Skribble circle and underground rap circles, and it was a little bit like I remember going on tour in 2002 with Josh Martinez and Sleep and Bishop from Old Dominion at AWOL1, like this like van rap tour around the States, just hopping in a white van for 40 days and making like $40 and like hitting 20 cities, you know what I mean? Like and when I went city to city on that, people knew about the routine, but it was still quite an underground thing, you know, but they knew it from the videos because it was a big thing to get on the VHS or get on the DVD. But then like when it hit the internet, then it started to kind of cross over to this point where like anyone saw it, and it kind of because of the Star Wars connection, it reached this real like crossover point. And it's like every year on May the 4th, people just share the ish out of that video, or it'll catch little viral moments, and like it's one of those things that's just kind of it like predates YouTube. Like the first place people saw it were like E-Bombs World and College Humor and like these like sites before YouTube. Like people, my brother would be like, hey, did you know your video's on E-Bombs World? You know, and I'm like, I don't even know what that is. You know, go check it out. It's a Star Wars DJ, and it's me. You know, so it's kind of interesting to see that. But I wouldn't say that was like a break, like that kind of like over like the history, like that probably helped. And but it wasn't like a set event that just kind of skyrocketed or broke. And I think a lot of it just has to do with just like staying consistent, doing shows, putting out mixes, putting out songs, remixing things. And again, like I learned early the power of video and the power of sharing via video, you know? So after that, like I started investing more in just time wise and a bit money. It doesn't cost too much to make little videos, but like just knowing that if I have a cool idea that can resonate with someone else out there in the world, you can get it out there, man. It's at your fingertips. And if it's dope enough, it's going to get around, man.
So you say via instead of via, just to be clear.
Yeah, I think I say via. I think that's because of via rail. So it's like, I don't want to, via's already via rail, so I say via.
I've never used that word ever in a sentence ever. And I think it's because I used to hate on the word. I used to be like, I hate that word via. I'd be like, I'll never send you via or something like that. And I think my pride is like, no, just say through.
Yeah, but, well, yeah, no, but see,
I know.
Yeah, I know. That's some Dartmouth stuff. They're like, what? You too high class for Dartmouth now, huh?
Yeah. I don't have enough money in my bank account to say via. Yo, man. And then you start producing and shit like that, which is super dope. Working with Shad a lot. Shad is obviously a friend of yours.
Yeah.
Shad
is one of my favorite MCs of all time. Shad has some of the most layers of any MC I ever met. Like, and working with him is such a treat because you gotta listen to songs a lot when you record them. And like, I'll be listening to things for the 50th time and just be like, what? Like, I didn't catch that. And just like, yeah, he's one of my favorites. And one of my best friends too now. I think he's a super talented dude. Buck 65, I ended up working with Buck in 2008. We did an album on Warner called Situation. Yeah. And then Shad is kind of like a frequent collaborator. Yeah, he's in the comments right now. What's up, Shad?
Yeah, you know what's the thing with you and Shad? You're very happy guys. You're always smiling. I wonder if you guys ever have like contests, like straight face contests, like who's gonna break? Who's gonna break?
We will next time we hang out. For real. We will. I mean, honestly, like that's my brother like that. Like we're like we do kind of connect on a similar positive tip. That guy is like a really inspiring person, a really like smart person, deep thinker, but also like surface level, just a nice person. So I feel funny talking to him with him in the comment, talking about him with him in the comments. But yeah, and you know, he had a kid recently too, so now we're like kind of like dad homie. You know how it is, right? Your friends have kids, and then you become dad homies, right? And
Yeah, man.
it brings you closer for real.
Absolutely. Yo, when my friends tell me, even like, yo, I have a child on the way, I'm like, I'm so happy because not only do I know what they're about to experience, but it's like, now we'll be talking more. And now we'll, and like, now you know what I mean, bro. It's amazing.
Yeah, because you get it, because there's a lot that you don't get until you actually like experience those things. So like, so you end up, those people become closer because they understand your schedule. Like, that's something funny about this whole like lockdown shit is people are like, oh, I got so much time. Like, well, I know you don't have kids.
Yeah, that's true. True.
And look, that's fine. Like, I try to be like really considerate of everyone's situation because some people don't want to have kids. B, some people want to have kids and just can't have them for a number of different reasons. So it's like, everyone's situation. Like, I'm aware that of all the reasons for all the things, and I don't ever project it because there's, as much as there's like amazing things, there's also tough things, and as much as there's tough things, there's tons of amazing things. Like, so it is dope when you do have a friend that understands, because there are so many parts to it, so many moving parts, right?
Everyone watching right now, including me and Skratch, we're gonna give a round of applause for Shad on his child. Very happy for you, Shad. Very happy for you, brother.
Hip Hop Evolution. Shad was the host of that.
Oh yeah, the best ever. The best shit I've ever fucking seen.
He did an amazing job on it, man. I was fortunate enough, I did a bunch of music for it too. I did the closing credits, and then I did, I think, like 9 different beats throughout it. Like, they would call me up and they would say, okay, well, we want something that sounds like this. We can't clear this. So I would make a similar sounding beat. So if you check the credits that roll really quickly at the end of the Netflix, you'll see Skratch.
I didn't even know that. That's super dope. That's super dope.
Yeah. So yeah, and then that was made with the homies out here at Banger Films, and Russell Peters was a big part of that, who's a good friend of mine too. Yep. And yeah, I think they just did such a good job, man. Like, and it's funny, like, I think like having the Canadian hip hop thing is a little bit of a thing, having the outside view of it and not being too tied into some of the deeper sort of maybe potentially salty or sour relationships. That's an advantage, right? And that can be an advantage as much as it can be a disadvantage to not be in the mix. Like, you also gain perspective from being outside it.
Shout out to Classified. He just said what's up to me.
What up?
His new song, so amazing. I'm so proud of him, man.
Yeah,
and,
good news. I was supposed to send him a good news clip. I don't know if he posted that yet.
I took so long. I felt so bad. I took so long, and then I sent him one, and he's like, "Dude, this is dope." And I was like, "All right, phew," because I didn't, you know what I mean? But, you know. Yeah,
I mean, there couldn't be a better time to release a song about that. Really, man, it's a challenging time, man. It's like, as much as I'm smiling, it's like, there are some hard days for sure, man. Just the balance of everything, and like, I realize that I'm really fueled by people, and I've been playing shows every week of my life for 23 years, you know, and connecting with people and meeting people. And even not, I just like going out. Like, I'm a people person. That's what it is. So I miss people. So it's good to connect with people like this and chat like this for sure. It doesn't replace it for me, but at least it gives an outlet. But yeah, shouts out to Class for promoting that stuff. I mean, Class has been doing it for so long and so well, man. Much respect to Classified.
I think Apathy's in here too, man. Apathy's saying what's up.
Shit, I'm sure Apathy been at Skribble Jam. I used to cut up Apathy records.
Oh man, you know what? I love that we have these conversations, by the way, man, because, you know, most people, like, I don't even like to call these interviews. So, for example, we've been talking about Shad and Classified for the last whatever, and that just shows what a cool person you are too. Instead of being like, no, let's talk about my.
Enough about me.
It is about you. It is about you. But I'm so glad that you look. Apathy just said, tune in into PatStayTV. Just see what this crazy motherfucker is wearing. It's almost better than the interviews with huge artists.
What are you wearing? Is that a house coat?
Yeah, it's a house coat, man. I just, you know.
Well, after doing the Super Nova Scotian video with you, I can relate to Apathy's desire to see what's coming next with the fits.
Yo, man, here's a random question. I'm gonna trail back. Those people that beat you and that, you know, inspired you, and you knew that were gonna beat you. Do you still do they still DJ? And if so, do you stay in contact at all?
Yeah, like briefly. Yes. and different battles range in level of like personal tension or personal investment, you know. So like not everybody, like DJ battle can be over in like 2 minutes and it doesn't have to get too personal. Like it's another record saying it. Like sometimes what you say can be like bad enough, but sometimes it's like you suck, you know. It's like, oh, I don't care. Like
but fuck you,
yeah,
shit like
yeah, fuck you. Ultimately, it's not coming out of my mouth, so it's like I can understand a rap. It's a little more direct, like from someone's mouth in your face, saying some.
It's not like it's your uncle died in September and he was a bitch.
I mean, that would be pretty good, you know. You could, but yeah, but you know what I mean. So like, I have had a couple things back and forth over some years that got like pretty, like they took up some space in my head, and I was definitely like gunning for some disses. But yeah, I stay. Just the DJ community online is like, they're always online. Probably like the battle rap community, pretty similar, right? Like I see people all the time, like, and like the guy that won the 2001 Sprite, he's been doing DJing. He's always doing DJing out west. Yeah, like in Canada there was a guy, DJ Brace. That was a dude who beat me in Canada, and he came out of Skribble, I beat him at Skribble. It was like good back and forth. Yeah, man, but it can be a little less personal than the rap thing. How about you? You stay? I mean, I see you out there typically.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, most battle rappers, like, to be honest with you, are cool. But there's some that are still like, they don't care to be friends with anyone. They don't want to shake your hand. They don't care. They're like, I ain't no one's friend. Which I always sound so corny. It's like, dude, like, this is such a little niche culture. Like we should all be like supporting and loving each other. And like, dude, like when I go to these events, I'm so happy. I'm around my brothers, man. We have so much in common. We've had the same struggles. We've leaped the same, you know, barriers and all that type of stuff. Like, dude, like we are a family. I know you guys. I know my cousins and shit like that. You know what I mean? And
yeah, and I can relate. Like going to battles. Sometimes you go to battles and there be people that are just in the corner, you know, just like waiting their turn, right? And you're like, really, you know? And maybe I'm just happier because I got out on a plane and went somewhere. But like, I'm like, let's party. Like the culture of it matters more to me. And it's like, if it's gonna cost me the experience that I have to be so disconnected from it in order to do the thing, it's almost like not worth it for me, you know? And so to me, the culture was ultimately the most important thing, and that really drove my routines as well. So I didn't take it too personally, and I didn't take it too personally on the delivery or the receiving end. You know, I diss people, but like ultimately, it's way bigger than me and you. It's about showing what I can do, because that's who inspired me, was mostly the artists rather than the battle. Like, I mean, DJ Craze, for instance. Shouts out to Craze, who I know is a huge fan of you, by the way. He follows battle rap like crazy. He's the best battle DJ of all time, in my opinion. He had a three-peat from 98, 99, 2000, and he was like, yeah, like I'm like looking at him, I'm kind of like, I don't think I'll ever get to that level of battle. I never did, but like I want to do the things that he's doing at that level somehow musically, you know what I mean? So but yeah, I'd say not too many grudges, and generally speaking, the DJ brotherhood is pretty tight, for sure.
And you're the nicest guy in the world. Like, who's sitting around like, I fucking hate that Skratch?
I'm sure I made some enemies back in the day, but yeah, ultimately, yeah. And I learned some of that Jazzy Jeff. Like, can you think of an enemy that guy has? You know what I mean? Like, no. Like the guy.
Yeah, I don't know him personally. I've only heard great things.
Super generous person, and just like he does this thing every year at his place called the Playlist Retreat, where he like flies people in from all over the world, and it's basically like a writing session and an info session, and it's just like he does it out, like he gets some sponsors and stuff, but he puts a lot of his own money into it, and it's just like, who does that kind of stuff? Like only someone who understands the value and understanding like the impact that can have on people's lives. You know what I mean? Shad just said, go ahead.
You were Jinx, you owe me a Pepsi. You were just gonna say, Shad just said battling teaches the art of performing.
Yeah, which is so true, man. It's
fucking true.
Yeah, it is. It's a training ground. It's not the be all end all. You know, it's not it's a training ground and performance. It's like theater, really. I mean, you embody that. When I see you do your shit, like, you sell your shit, man. It's like you sell your lines, and some people be like, that's corny or something. And I was like, because I wore a wig in the battle before, I wore a mullet wig, and I put on sort of this almost like this hickish character. And I did that at first because I was playing a Justin Timberlake record, and at the time I was kind of like embarrassed to be playing a Justin Timberlake record. So I was like, let me like, but it was Like I Love You, which is a dope ass beat produced by the Neptunes. But at that time there was still kind of like, underground versus commercial, like, that ain't real. So I'm like, all right, well, let me just like pretend to be this dude, and then like that I came from some club in middle of nowhere, Ohio, and flex on him like that. You know what I mean? So, but you learn the art of performance, because you get that immediate response from your actions, and there's no better trial by fire than just standing there and doing something and getting that immediate reaction. You think about it for months in your head, and then you try it out and no one gets it. Or you think about it for months, or you think about it that day and do it, and then everyone goes crazy. So like, it trains your brain to be creative, because it gives you like this confined construction. I'd say one thing: when I got married to my wife, that sounds funny. When I got married, I was writing my vows, and just like anything, I do everything kind of like last minute a little bit, sort of. If it were not for the last minute, nothing would get done, right? But so like, I was writing my vows to her or whatever. We just did this little vows thing, and I was going over them in the shower like the day of, and I stumbled, and like I had this line where I said, like, I will honor and cherish your beauty, and I said, I will honor and cherish your booty in the shower. And I was like, that's it. Like, I'm totally doing this at the wedding, So
yes.
so like again, it's like that sort of like doing it and then like assessing yourself, and like that gives you those skills to excel and to be creative. So yeah.
How did that go off in the wedding? Did everyone laugh?
Oh, it went off crazy. Someone got it on camera. Like it was a wall slapper. The funny thing was I intentionally slipped up, and then I did it twice by mistake. I was like, damn it! I kind of slipped on the landing. I did it once, and then like when I went to correct myself the second time, I did it again, and I was like, oh man, But that happens too, and that's like the human element of it too, right? Like people get that, and yeah, there's Shad was there. Shad remembers it.
That's amazing, man. That's huge. He said my wife still talks about it. That's super dope, man. Shout out to his wife too. You know what's so effing. So I could say fucking dope. I don't know if your audience is here. It's cool. It's cool. Fuck it. I'm so glad you told the story about the fucking Star Wars shit, man. Because, dude, you did it you did the first one in 2001, and it's still going on.
Yeah.
That's beyond legendary, dude. That's so amazing. Just to know that story, and I didn't know that. And that it's still happening, and like, holy shit, that's crazy.
People when people can go to my IG, I posted it on May 4th because I saw it going around. I'm like, well, I might as well put it up there. And half the comments, people haven't seen it before, or didn't know that it was me. Like, it's like they know me from other things. But again, it like comes back to that thing where it's like putting the stuff out there, like making the videos is important, because like, there's so many people out there are thirsty for this stuff, and that video taught me the value of it, but learning that I'm not defined by that, but every year, I literally get tagged in it every week. I'm like, I can't repost this, like otherwise every week it'll just be like 19-year-old me with X's on my hands doing the Star Wars routine, you know what I mean? So I try to share it like once a year or something like that, just so people that have found out about me within that year will then have that kind of like, it's like the art of retelling your story. It's like,
yeah, man, absolutely.
It's absolutely, because you don't want to seem old, or you don't want to seem like you're hanging on to something, but you're also like, this was an important part of what I do. You know what I mean?
It's funny we say things like we don't want to seem. Don't want.
Yeah.
Because it's like kind of saying like, I don't want the people to think this, but you know.
Well,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know because
I
sometimes like,
repost it sometimes, and I'm like, oh, people are gonna think that I'm falling off because I'm posting old clips.
yeah. But a lot of times it comes you think someone has fallen off because they don't post nothing else but the one clip, right? Maybe, right? So I don't. Yeah, gotta look in the mirror when you're doing some things like that, right? But
You ever make a post and it hasn't got many likes and you took it down?
yeah, for sure.
Me too.
Well, honestly, that has less to do with the popularity of it and more to do with the way people consume. I think a lot of people don't understand. You just might be posting the right thing at the wrong time.
Right.
Right.
The algorithms. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the algorithms and like just the daily flow. Like, I remember this. I'm wearing a Jam Master J shirt right here today because I like it. But I did a routine with his son, TJ Mizell, and we did a tribute to Jam Master J, and we worked on it, and it's super dope, still up. And we were like, okay, like we're gonna push this out, and we pushed it out, and we pushed it out literally 30 minutes before Donald Trump inauguration, you know? And so we had planned this for a month and pushed it out, and all of a sudden, like, you couldn't get through that wall of noise.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yes.
Right? So like, you never know when that might be happening somewhere. So I don't think there's any shame in deleting it. It's not because it's not popular. I think it's like, you know, it could just be that you're putting it out at the wrong time, and you never know when those Instagram algos are changing their dials or deciding that it's not working, or maybe it doesn't work. You know, like if it's something you put work into, there's absolutely no shame to deleting that and putting it back up.
No, you're right, for sure. I kind of meant.
If it's a selfie, you know, maybe it's a little different, right?
Yo, man, listen, Skratch, man, I love having you on. I love this conversation so much. And like you said, we've only hung out a few times, but yeah, it's always been great. I appreciate your burst of energy, your vibrance. You're always smiling, you're always laughing, you're always positive. Bless you, your wife, your family, man, everything about it. Thank you so much for coming on.
We'll catch up when we can when we can have a beer. We'll have a beer sometime over in Dartmouth there. I remember you came to the last barbecue we did in Halifax, so big respect to that. Thanks for having me on the show, man. Love sharing the stories.
Have a great day, man.
Okay, you too, brother. Peace back.